It's important for us to understand that Arboretum is a very specific space where you've got trees planted deliberately for purposes of learning.
You cannot describe Arboretum as coming up with an idea because it actually just happened organically.
The way some people buy shoes, so we just buy trees. If you live and at the end of your life you have not improved the world, then I think life would have been completely useless.
You can only learn from slipping and falling.
You know, the fact that your parents were poor and you started life poor doesn't mean that you need to own poverty and wear it like a beret or something.
But I also believe that people who are underprivileged, when they make it in life, they tend to be the most corrupt.
What will stop a person, even a rich person, from being corrupt is the principles, the morals, and the way they were guided and brought up so that they value certain things. In order to tolerate something, sometimes you need to learn, you need to adopt, not necessarily drop. Our reforestation has been, pandamiti, but no one says why.
Why, yeah.
We should encourage people to grow trees for purposes of economic exploitation.
Hello world, welcome to yet another episode of the Ideal Corner podcast. Today we're in Seme. Yeah, and I'm honored to sit, should I say I'm honored to sit among a power couple. It is a power couple, right?
KPLC.
Yeah, wasikate stima today. Yeah, so we are in Seme, Kajakoby, Arboretum. Yeah, and I'll let them introduce themselves. Let's start with the lady.
Hi, everyone. My name is Hilda Oby I'm one of the founders of Arboretum Kajakoby.
Yeah.
Yes.
And my name is Oby Mrs. I'm Hilda's husband and also one of the founders of the Arboretum Kajakoby.
Yeah. And behind the cameras, we also have, introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Brad. I'm a co-founder / not co-founder, part of the enterprise, communications manager, social media manager, and other stuff for the Arboretum also, and child.
I sense some form of nepotism there, but anyway, you can proceed. Yeah, so we'd like to know, how did you guys come up with this idea?
You cannot describe Arboretum as coming up with an idea because it actually just happened organically. Yeah, where we were staying in Koroi, which is in Kajiado County.
Yeah.
We have a place there, and we were growing a lot of trees there. So when we moved here, or rather when we were setting up home here, it was open field, so we started growing trees.
This was way back when?
About 2015, I think. Yeah. So it's been, that's about 10 years or so.
10 years, yeah.
So this was open field. It was a farmland. Didn't have any trees. Had a few, but they had been chopped down, a few acacia trees. So we kind of tamed those ones and brought them back to life. And then we started planting trees.
Yeah.
And then we just kept planting trees.
Until now, you're in 2025.
Until 2025.
10 years later.
And we declared this an arboretum in
2022.
22. When we realized actually it was an arboretum created. So we said, why not? So it became an arboretum.
Yeah. So you said you had a passion for trees. Where did this passion come from? Was it something from your childhood that you always had, or what brought it about?
Well, I mean, in my childhood, my father, of course, grew a lot of trees. We grew in a place where there was lots of trees. But, trees are a leafy place is a beautiful place. So
True.
yeah, so trees just come naturally.
Mm-hmm.
Flowers and trees, and then trees actually more Oby's thing. I'm more into flowers, ornamental.
Yeah.
But that has rubbed on. So I found myself also loving trees. Yeah, but they give you a beautiful environment.
Mm-hmm.
They do a lot of things. And
Yeah.
you will know. I mean, as we talk about the Arboretum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for those people who know, this is the second Arboretum tree nursery, forest bathing therapy, and bird watching in Kisumu. So it's home to more than 150 species of indigenous trees, and it's the largest indigenous tree nursery in the region.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So because it's a lot of investment, to be honest.
Yeah.
So I just want to understand, how did the journey start?
Do you want to go with
Yeah,
that?
Mr. I'll let
Well, I think, like Hilda's mentioned, is that when we were growing trees, when we were still in Koroi, the main hindrance was that the place was too small.
Mm-hmm.
And we kept on growing. We would find interesting trees and would grow them. The space was small, and you'd buy seedlings. So the capital investment and emotional investment started very early. When we moved and set up home here, at least one thing we had was space, and so we just continued with a passion. Would acquire tree seedlings from different places. We got to know very many people who run tree nurseries.
Yeah.
And so we just buy tree seedlings. It's you get into that thing of like wanting to have the diversity, because we're very much into biodiversity.
Mm-hmm.
And so different trees, some are, medicinal, some are fruit trees, some just look beautiful. So we kept on buying and, propagating. So we'd buy seeds, we'd buy tree seedlings, and that's just gone on. I mean, you could call it some kind of just the way some people buy shoes. So we just buy trees.
It's become an addiction. We
Yeah.
haven't stopped. We
Yeah, it
still
looks
buy
like-
trees.
Yeah,
tree
the
seedlings.
place looks nice, and yeah, we love it. So before you go far, in front of you there are a deck of cards. I'd request that each of you pick one random card, read it out loud, and tell us what you think about the card. So
Okay. You need to have a
Scared.
very long arm to get to the cards.
How do you get to the middle?
The assumption is, as you read the card, you have to be honest.
yeah, very.
There's no parameter.
You're planning on being
Way of
dishonest.
measuring honesty here.
You're planning on being dishonest.
No, I mean, you can be creative in the response to the question.
Okay.
No,
Which
like
side
full-
is it?
full
There are
creativity,
two
of
sides, so you
course.
can just read both sides and tell us which one relates more to your life and what you think of
gosh,
it.
I've got two cards.
Oh, a power couple, I said. No, it doesn't want that. Okay, the corruption. Mm-hmm. Go first.
I'm seeing which one.
You can read. You can
can
read
do both.
Yeah.
We need to know what's on the card.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm reading.
No, read it out loud.
I will.
Maybe
Okay, you're
she's-
taking your time.
I'm still doing a mental check.
Wow.
Optimism is an intellectual choice. Should I read by who?
Mhm.
Diana Schneider. Diana Schneider. Optimism is an intellectual choice. Should I agree first?
You can't agree or disagree.
I tend to agree because for you to be optimistic, you have to think about it, and tell yourself, I'm going to be optimistic about even a difficult situation. I'm going to be optimistic about this. So you think through it, and then you come up with a strategy on how you're going to be optimistic. So definitely it's an intellectual choice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you want to go?
No, just do the second part first.
Goodness consists not in the outward things we do, but in the inward thing we are. That one is deep. Gosh, okay. Let me understand it. Goodness consists not in the outward things we do, but in the inward thing we are. You can, for example, let me give an example, gift someone, but not out of your heart, to show others that, I'm a good person, so I'm gifting this. But inward, you're like, oh, you resent the person, or you regard the person in a lowly manner or something like that.
Yeah.
So the goodness of things actually it's in the inside. So if the inside is good, then you will do good. If the inside is not good, if you're doing good, it will be out of show, not out of heart.
Be performative.
Yeah, it will be a performance performative kind of act. That's what I think.
Nice.
I agree. This person is L Chapin.
Yeah.
I don't know that person.
Yeah, so you can keep the card. That's yours to keep.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, keep it for good.
Yeah, for good. That's yours.
That's just...
Put it somewhere.
All right. So I go mine. Both of mine are kind of deep, but I want to start with this one by Sally. I don't know whether it's Koch or Koch, depending on where this comes from. It says, great opportunities to help others seldom come, but small ones surround us every day. Interesting, because of the perception of the idea of great opportunities to help others. When you're thinking about offering support to other people, offering help to other people, I do not know whether you can talk about great opportunities or small opportunities. I think there's a bit of I think there, because the person to whom you're offering help and support will obviously look at it as a great opportunity for them.
Yeah.
So when you think about it as a great opportunity for yourself, meaning that you're quantifying the kind of support or help you're going to give, then it means it's important for you as opposed to the person receiving the help. And when the help is for your own benefit, then I don't even think of it as an opportunity to support somebody else, because what you're really doing is helping yourself.
Yeah.
There's a bit of ego involved in it. And so for me, this is a tricky one. Because then those opportunities will be created. And I think about situations in which people go to disaster zones and decide to do stuff to show supposedly support, but what they're really doing is they're doing it for themselves. So I don't agree with Sally, but I don't really have to, because then I want to talk about Anne Frank. And the Anne Frank piece is moving, because if you know the history of Anne Frank, then what she says here, how wonderful it is that nobody needs wait a single moment before starting to improve the world. I find this pretty profound, because then what you're saying is that there is no good time to start to improve the world, meaning that you don't wait. You start anyway. You start at whichever time this realization hits you. So you don't have to stage manage the idea about improving the world. And it's important in the sense that by thinking about the single moment that you needn't wait for. It means that there is no specific time that is designated for purposes of improving the world.
Yeah.
Every single moment. It defines the purpose of existence, that we exist essentially to improve the world. And if you live and at the end of your life, you have not improved the world, then I think life would have been completely useless.
Let me give you a shout out.
I'm fine.
Yeah, you can also keep the card, part of the souvenir. Yeah, Rad, you also have to pick one. I told you it's going to be therapy.
Oh my God. Okay, that's an interesting one. So I have, as you grow older, you will find that the only things you regret are the things you didn't do, by Zachary Scott, which I feel like is very self-explanatory. I mean, can't go deeper than do everything that you need to do when you can do it, how you can do it, and to the best of your ability, which I think is something that everyone needs to hear every once in a while, because I think there's a lot of unnecessary pressure for you to do things and for you to perform, or for you to say things how they're supposed to be said, or how society wants you to be seen or to be perceived and all. And I feel like if you just take this as do things for you how you want them to be done, how you'd prefer them to be done, then it's easier for you to live life. I
think that can be very anarchic, because
no, it's not like it's not like it's not like
just do everything.
It's not like
they should qualify and say do good things.
But then good is so relative also.
True.
Good is relative. That's the most important thing about it, is that it's relative.
Yeah. And even age is relative, because like before you grow older, like how old, you know?
Ooh, that's interesting actually.
Yeah.
For me, it's usually like how young, not how old.
Oh, how young. I mean, even that one, whichever way you move, it's how young.
Yeah.
Oh, that's very interesting. I mean, I was reading something where somebody talks about going against this thing that these days that you say, oh, I'm 60 years young. I mean, what 60 years young? If you're 60, you're 60. You know, you don't start downing the idea that you've been around for 60 years. It's not a problem that you've been around for 60 years. So why change it into I'm 60 years young? You don't say I'm 300 kilos thin. No, but if you're fat, you're fat.
If you come to think of it, what really quantifies a year? What quantifies a year?
Oh my God.
Well, that's interesting, because a year, I mean, a few years ago, I mean, my question was, who decides what a year is?
That's it, yeah.
But no. The idea and the concept of a year is actually not determined by the calendar. It is the time that it takes for the Earth to go around the sun and the seasons. That's what the year is. I mean, the idea of a calendar is just to try and organize it in such a way that everyone can operate on the same plane. But like when you think about a day is a very specific time that, you cannot decide a day is 98 hours, because the day is outside of our control. The same way like the year is outside of our control. The year will be the whole movement of the planetary system. And people, for a long time, people thought that it had something to do with the calendar. It's got nothing to do with the calendar. It's got the understanding of the planetary system.
Yeah.
That's how the people before the calendar determined what the year was and the seasons. So if you say, I've been around the earth 60 times, and somebody has been around the earth 3 times, there's a difference. You can't say it is the same.
Okay.
Is it the experiences? Because you've been around the planet 3 times, and you've just been in one place.
Yeah.
3 for your 3 years or 60 years.
It's not where you've been. It's the fact that, I mean, even just the fact that you've woken up
It's a different day.
Yeah, you've woken up, you've seen things that the person who's only woken up 3 times will not have seen the same things the person who's woken up 60 times will have seen. So obviously experience is not only a factor of like you've moved around. It's just like you've been around, and you've had
seen things.
Seen things.
Yeah, you might see the same thing, but you never see the same thing twice.
Oh yeah. Oh.
Before we lose you.
Yeah. No. It's okay. It's relevant still. It's relevant. My next one is an African proverb. How telling.
Oh, nice.
I know. Do not look where you fell, but where you slipped. That's interesting to have regret and self-reflection on both cards. It's by the ancestors. I feel like they're both also self-explanatory. Like don't focus on necessarily where you went wrong, what you didn't do, or what you didn't manage to do, but rather do it now. Because the way I look at it is, if you had planned to do something, perform an action, whatever it is, then if you were planning to do it like now and you plan to do it next week, then you might as well do it now, because the time is still gonna pass anyway. Like difference ya sahi na hiyo time ingine ni gani to an extent. So you might as well do it now, even if you're not doing it to the, okay, I'm a perfectionist to an extent, but even if you're not doing it to your extreme best, at least you're doing it and you're getting like your foot in, rather than not doing it completely and then like you don't have that experience per se. But you can only learn from slipping and falling.
I think kuteleza sio kuanguka.
Exactly.
is kind of different, because it means either to stumble is not to fall.
Yeah.
But here, I think the whole idea is you do not spend time thinking about your slipping.
Yes.
Because, slip doesn't mean you're falling, but it could be the beginning of your fall. But what's most important is that when you fall is how you pick yourself up. Because you could fall and remain on the ground.
But it could also mean that you need to look back and check what caused your sleep, so that you can correct that.
True. Like you don't want to focus on the falling, but you can look at the falling.
Like, what caused my fall?
Like what was the lesson behind the falling?
What caused my, why did I sleep?
But you could also dwell on the slip and forget that you're still sitting on your butt.
You're still on the ground. Yeah.
It's like retrospection, so that you're like, okay, let that not happen again. Like look, like what caused, like why did I pour oil on the floor and I knew that I was going to cross there. Then,
for example, if you think about it from an Arboretum point of view, I mean, right now, part of the problem you're dealing with is climate change, global warming, blah blah blah. And you could spend a lot of time saying that people cut trees and they did blah, 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 and spend all that time talking about the slip.
Facts.
Forgetting that right now, what you need to do is to get yourself up, which is like plant trees, reduce the temperature, as opposed to whining about the fact that in 1970, people cut down trees. Like this place was a forest in the 1970s, and it is not today. What is important is today, plant the tree and mitigate the problem.
Can we even say that people are like at that level of awareness that, people, you talk to people and it's like, oh, these days it's so dry, Are they aware that it's dry because they have cut down trees, or because they'll, like, at the end of the day, they'll say, we leave it to God, Yes, I am onge. Are they aware that it's dry, it's not raining because they've cut down trees?
They might not be, but those who are aware needs to do something about it. I suppose you could spend your time telling people that you cut down trees or your ancestors cut down trees, and then what? I mean, it's more important at that point in time to figure out that, okay, trees were cut. Right now, you're dealing with a problem of global warming. What are you going to do about it? Meanwhile, they might need to know about the fact that people cut down trees. But if we spend all our time and energy dwelling on what happened 20 years ago, we will not solve the problem which is affecting us today. And that is you're down on the ground. So you need to figure out, how do I get up? And how do I get up is what makes a difference.
History informs the future. If you don't know what happened in the
past, yeah,
there's no way you're moving forward with it, informed. So
but
they
now,
need to know.
There's also, it's a good point, but I also think that most of us spend a lot of time focusing on history. Than what we should be doing right now.
And it can be very disempowering, because then you could say, oh, I am like this because my parents were poor. The fact that your parents were poor and you started life poor doesn't mean that you need to own poverty and wear it like a beret or something.
But you may not even know that your parents, you're poor. You just think, this is kawaida.
Yeah, that's a different kind of poverty.
Hence the quote, kulalanja.
So I think you will be informed. I think there's certain things that will happen in life. Maybe at a certain point where you get to like self-actualization and you're like, yo, guys are out here with shoes and I'm barefoot.
No, but why are you focusing on your parents' poverty?
Yeah, I mean, there's
instead
agency.
Of focusing on
poverty.
Yeah. There's agency. At this point in time, the fact that your parents were poor is not important. I mean, it's like we've always argued that, we keep complaining, we are like the way we are because of colonialism.
Yes.
Okay, colonialism happened.
Mm-hmm.
It was terrible. It's still affecting us today. But what are we doing about it? So you could spend all your time whining about colonialism. But the fact is, right now, what you do will mitigate the impact of colonialism. So if your parents were poor, they didn't do this, they didn't do that, you've got the opportunity to try and do something about it now, as opposed to whining about what happened 20 years ago.
To an extent, are you skipping over the fact that you need to come to that self-actualization that this happened, so I need to work like this and I need to do this in this manner for me to come out of this? Because also, it's not level playing field. Other people don't have to have that realization. They don't have to deal with that. The stuff is just laid out for them. They have a silver spoon in their mouth. So it's not a reality for them, per se.
I think it's not so much whether people have a silver spoon in their mouth or whatever. I think there's the self-actualization, self-realization is moving from the past. It's moving from the slip.
Yeah.
And figuring out, I'm on my butt right now on the ground. Do I stand up or do I not stand up? Because you could choose to remain on your butt.
And reflect on why you are there on the ground.
And moving on also, it depends on where you are. If you are born with a silver spoon, you don't want to move on, Like, why lose all this, when it's all good?
Yeah, but even the silver spoon story is a bit of brokeism, because I mean, the fact that you're born with a silver spoon in your mouth doesn't necessarily mean you're going to do nothing in your life. You could be a child of privilege, but what do you do with that privilege? That's what is important. I mean, you could still move a few steps forward.
Yeah.
Just because you were born with a silver spoon in your mouth doesn't mean that you keep suckling on it. You could decide to do something.
But I think because it affords you the chance for you to decide if you want to like just chill or if you want to like elevate kind of situation. But if you're like in the poverty, you have no chance but to elevate.
No. Because even with a silver spoon in your mouth, it doesn't mean that's a license to just be a cabbage and do nothing. There are people who've been born in privilege,
like you can afford
but then they have gone out there and they have done stuff.
But I feel like you can afford to.
No, not really.
You can afford
I feel like for the people who are born with the silver spoon, it kind of looks like there's someone who is holding the spoon on your mouth. It's not like it's you holding the spoon.
Yeah, but it is. But the thing is, you can afford to. Because you already have it. Because you already have the silver spoon. You already
and
what
if they decide to move the spoon?
They could.
Yeah.
But you already had it. You can afford to operate a certain way aside from someone who's like never had the silver spoon at all.
I think we are talking about a state of lacking. And if you've grown up lacking, you probably want more, But if you have grown up with wherewithal, like You've
can
gone to
still
the
want
best
more.
schools.
Good.
You've interacted with you've traveled the world. All these things that people want to do. You've you've done things. But if you are born in somewhere in Kayaba, you've never had 3 meals complete in a day, in any one day, you've never had all these things, nice things people talk about, walk in what kind of shoes, I'd like to do my hair, for example. I'd like to, you've never had. So the only thing you can do is thrive to.
Yeah, but that's relative because, and that's why I'm saying it's brokeism to imagine that the person who has been born in privilege has got no motivation. They have motivation.
That's not what
they
we are
want
saying.
more. But you see, because you don't have those 3 meals, you imagine because they have 3 meals, they should be happy.
What?
But the question is, I've got 3 meals, but now I want a Ferrari.
What we
As
are
you
saying,
but
what we are saying that the person who has been born in a privileged family or society has a choice. They can choose.
To do what?
To either to work harder, to be
No, they don't have
self-actualization.
That's what we think.
It is a
they have a
choice.
choice. They don't have a choice.
It is a choice. But if you are born poor, you have no choice but to work hard towards.
No, you can have a choice
You have a
to
choice, but
remain
you
in
have no
that
choice.
poverty or
you
work
have a
hard.
choice, but you have no choice.
It's not a good state. So you want to change your status. You want to change the state of affairs. No one enjoys eating 1 meal in a day or no meal. That person will definitely want to change their life.
Yeah, just like the
But
guy
if you have
who's got 3
dessert
meals
here,
who doesn't have a
every
Ferrari.
Or a private jet.
Yeah. I mean, the idea that people who are in privilege do not have motivation is not correct.
No, we're not. We're not
they
saying
have-
they don't have
saying.
motivation.
They have motivation. It's only for different things. Because
Yeah.
look at this example.
Yeah.
And I mean, you can look at examples. If you were born and your father happens to be Pele, the kind of pressure you have to be successful in football is not like if your father is a guy who grew up playing Kotbiro in Makongeni somewhere. You don't have the same kind of pressure. If your father is Cristiano Ronaldo, you've got a lot of pressure that some other guy doesn't have. And the pressure to succeed is greater for that person. They are born with a silver spoon, but that silver spoon can be, like they talked about the poisoned chalice, they are under so much pressure. Look at political families. I mean, if you happen to be born in a political family, you do not have the luxury of being a bum. If your father is some changa drinking drunkard, you can lie in the gutter and people will not expect anything more of you. But if your father happens to be a Kennedy, or if your father happens to be, look at the pressure that Obama's daughters were under.
Yeah,
They couldn't go wrong.
Mm-hmm.
If your father was some crazy person somewhere, you could do anything. I mean, those girls were not even allowed to date regular guys.
As if.
The way like other girls do.
What do you mean?
Okay,
What
I
do you-
think we need to
No,
move
but
on.
still, I think even if you mention it, even if they're not allowed and they have the pressure, I think they have certain setups or certain things that allow them to succeed in those pressures. You see, like right now with Serena Williams and her daughters now, they're already training right now. They already
Look at
have
that
like
pressure.
deals and stuff like that. But if I want to be like a Serena Williams now, and my dad was an actor, not a whatever, that means I'm really starting from a place of like there's like a lack of privilege there.
No, you've got some serious. Look at the story of Denzel Washington. What his son, for example, he's become a really successful guy, but they even whatever that his son did not go around carrying his name because he said every time you walk into a space and people realize that you are blah blah Washington, it's oh my God, you're Denzel's son.
Yeah.
You will never get the opportunity to prove yourself. So the guy has been able to go out there and do his own stuff
But
so
you
that
see-
when people
He has a
realize
name.
this,
He has
Dazzle
a
is your
name.
father, it's like
But
already.
but you see another thing, you have a name, which means even like if he chose not to, like even several authors also choose not to associate with like or
Good.
whatever.
You're arriving
Yeah.
to the place where you have a choice whether you're
You have
born
a-
with a silver spoon.
Yes, but immediately you mention that you're like, hey, I am who's and who's whatever. Guys are like, oh, let's open for you opportunities.
Yeah.
As opposed to like I land and I'm like, whoever I am, then guys are like, who are you? Then
Yeah,
you have
but
to
you
make
see
a
the
name for
difference
yourself.
is you've already made a name for yourself.
Yes.
You're not using the name. Now that's a different thing.
But people,
the point is,
people will rarely also acknowledge your effort because they say
yeah,
your background and
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
that.
You were born with, like all this thing that you were born, you had a head start,
Mhm.
yeah.
as opposed to this person who's
Who-
starting
yeah.
from zero.
Yeah.
So you had a head start, you got a good education,
And
you had a bank account that bought you a house, so you didn't have to save and buy your
Yeah.
first
So,
house.
so do you realize how miserable it is to have a silver spoon?
No, but
It's
have
also-
to
it's
have
al-
a
This is
it's-
silver
exactly the
spoon.
point that we're making. That
Give me
it's so
all the
much
spoons.
pressure. You've got
Yo.
more pressure than the person who is allowed to fail. You know,
but
if you
I have pressure, but I have
They're allowed to
backing.
fail.
I have
Yeah.
backing, I have support, I have platforms and
Yeah.
stuff like that, as compared to someone who has pressure and none of that.
yeah,
They
you
just
have pressure. You have pressure. You're expected because there is that expectation that you have to excel, as opposed to someone else who's under absolutely no pressure. So that when they excel,
Mhm.
it's an exception. That's why they're the ones who are talked about. Oh, this person came out of the slum and made a name for themselves. It's because people expected them to fail. And so when you succeed, it's news item. But if you're just a guy who was a regular, your father is an astrophysicist and
It's
your
nice.
mother is a microbiologist, if you then discover DNA sequencing, it's like, it's because his parents were like, blah, blah, blah. You never even get the accolades.
Okay,
Give me
I
all
think
the
I think there's that.
give
but
me all the spoons.
same here. I'm not
We're not
refusing a
here
silver
for will.
spoon, even if it comes now.
All
No,
the
but that's
spoons.
crazy. But I also believe that people who are underprivileged, when they make it in life, they tend to be the most corrupt. Simply
Trauma.
because of the poverty mentality. I don't
The
want to go
trauma.
back to that state that I was in.
I think that's a
Just-
stereotype.
Just a minute. You have to edit this part. Brad, can you go and close the door
The which one?
behind?
The back one.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Sorry.
But I think there's a way in which there's a stereotype because there have been people who have had privilege and have abused it. I think what's most important is values.
Mm.
There's an assumption that poverty always bequeaths positive values. It's not true.
Mhm.
There are people who have really good, positive, solid values who come out of wealth, who come out of privilege. The thing is, how were you brought up? There's a difference between growing up and being brought up. People tend to imagine everyone who grows up was brought up. It's like, there are people who just grow. They live and they keep getting older and older and they become older.
Yeah.
Then there are people who are brought up. And being brought up means that you're brought up within a system. And that system includes some kind of values and principles and morals, which you can get whether you're poor, whether you're wealthy. The thing is, what will stop a person, even a rich person, from being corrupt
Yeah.
is the principles, the morals, and the way they were guided and brought up so that they value certain things. That's the difference. There tends to be a very easy way out to just say, if you're rich, you're going to be corrupt, or you don't have morals, or blah, blah, blah. So that when a rich person happens to be nice, they go, oh, that's philanthropic. Whereas you find broke guys who are helping people every single day, but no one acknowledges.
Yeah.
So it's just the way that we tend to perceive what Anne Frank was talking about, how wonderful it is that nobody needs wait a single moment before starting to improve the world. I mean, there are people who live in neighborhoods, and especially people who live in poor neighborhoods, who help each other out. But no one calls it philanthropy. They gang together, they support each other. There's a bright child in the estate, they put their money together, they take that child to school. No one writes about it. You will not see them on the cover of a magazine. But they do a lot of stuff. But there is who tells the story. The person who owns the narrative are the rich, the powerful. And therefore, the efforts of those who are not the rich and the powerful always goes unspoken about, except when somebody is exceptional and they come out and they make their story known. And then it becomes like, oh, this is an exception. There are people doing all sorts of interesting things all the time.
Crazy. Yes.
Okay.
That was quite insightful. Now, there's a topic that I really wanted us to cover.
The Arboretum?
What do you want to discuss about the Arboretum?
Well, you can go with yours and then we should discuss the Arboretum.
No, proceed. What do you want to talk about the Arboretum?
No, I think just bringing the awareness that creating something like an Arboretum is a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
And we'd like, for example, the community around to, pick up that and emulate. And, of course, enjoy the benefits of being in an Arboretum, and also just to meet the needs of for example, the environmental conservation, which is really, really required because forest cover in this country has really dwindled down.
Are you certain?
It has.
Because just recently, the president lifted the ban of logging at Mau Forest.
Oh, but those two are not connected.
Yeah.
They're not.
The two are not connected at all. Lifting the ban on logging and the fact that there has been a steady decline in the forest cover are two very unrelated events. Because, one thing that people miss in that big story, there's the thing about the forest cover reducing, and it has reduced over time. And then there's logging, which in some context can be like an economic activity because there's agroforestry, which is part of business. Some people grow trees so that they can harvest them for purposes of timber, so that we end up with furniture, blah, blah. So I think this idea that trees should never get cut is missing the point. Because we need to understand that this is agriculture, this is agroforestry, this is agribusiness. We need to encourage people to put a lot more land under trees, because before you cut down the trees, there's some benefit that accrues. But even the sustainable harvesting of trees, which is what logging should be, I'm not saying it is, what it should be.
That's the ideal situation.
We should encourage people to grow trees for purposes of economic exploitation. So we should be able to then tell them what are the right trees to grow for purpose of economic exploitation. For example, we know in this country, it's going to take a long time before everyone is cooking using gas or electricity.
Yeah.
So wood fuel is going to be needed all the time. So we end up with knee-jerk reactions like, let's ban charcoal. But how are people going to eat? People have to cook. All right? It is most sensible to explore, to research and find out which are the fast-growing trees where you can get, for example, people to grow those fast-growing trees for wood fuel, fast-growing trees that can be the raw material for a charcoal industry. And for example, Lucina or Lucina, if you like, grows very fast. And in some places, people will say it becomes invasive. It is only invasive to the extent that it is not being harvested sustainably.
Yeah.
But if you harvest it sustainably, you've got a business. I mean, look at economies like, if you remember, I don't know if you did though, in places like Canada, there were great temperate forests which are used and they're taken care of and they keep growing trees and they're logging. Logging is big business. So I think part of the problem is we have knee-jerk reaction to things. the spirit behind which the president recently opened up logging, I think, is the problem, because we are talking about trees which are grown in water towers, trees which are not necessarily supposed to be harvested in that manner. So there's a bit of irresponsibility in that action. But we need to understand the entire picture before we just say, oh, we shouldn't log. Because there are trees that, for example, you have trees like Grevillea. After 20 years, the trees mature. If you don't harvest it, it just rots from the center, from the core. So when you cut it down after 30 years, it will be useless, even as timber. So the question is, why keep it there? So we need to understand this thing, and that's where the Arboretum thing comes in that she was talking about, that we need to experiment and learn and understand about trees so that we know which are the right trees to grow for the right purpose.
Yes. Okay. Oh.
So you want to ask what?
I want to ask what?
You wanted to ask something.
Yeah. So for this, I really wanted to talk about marriage.
Marriage?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
from the Arboretum to marriage.
That's why I started by saying you guys are a power couple.
Yeah. But I think it's necessary because it highlights like how you guys came together to like start this whole project also. Like from the get
What's it got to do with
all the way to the back.
Anyway, ask your question.
Kama mngekuwa strangers, mngekuwa na Arboretum.
Yeah.
Hey. Passion for
the
trees.
Nairobi Arboretum was not created by
the
couple. Among you guys, there's a person who had the idea and there's a person who pushed for the idea to be implemented.
And that's the kind of question that breaks a marriage.
I know.
No, how does it break a marriage? Because you supported the idea.
No, it was both our ideas. We just loved, If you don't have the idea and then there's no way you're going to be complementing each other. You have to, have also one person will propose the idea, maybe, like the way you have a trivia and then somebody goes first.
Yeah.
But the other person has to complement and agree. Like, oh yeah, I also had the idea, but you beat me at stating the idea. Yeah.
I think conceptually, you could say that somebody is more excited about something, but I think what's important in a working partnership, whether it's a business one or a romantic one, is how infectious is an idea, such that even your partner, whether it's a business partner, your life partner, sees the vision, sees the passion that you have for it, and joins you in that passion. So at the end of the day, I think what results is that it becomes difficult to say, oh, this was my idea and then this person came along, because usually it's a process. You talk about some things, and when you land at something that is really passionate, you might not even be able to tell how you landed on it, because these things happen incrementally. And because you are somewhere and you make a comment about something, the other person says, oh yeah, that's a good idea. Or you see a beautiful plant and you like it, and the other person, oh yeah, that's a nice plant. And then you put it somewhere and oh my God, it looks so beautiful. And then the love for the plant might begin. And then it's like, when the next time you go out, you're looking for plants, you might not even be able to trace it back to how did we start looking for plants. It's because it's something that just works, makes it, makes you both excited. And then after that, a few years down the line, you realize, you're being pushed out of your house by the plants. There's too much plants inside the house. And you can't quite tell, where did this problem begin? Quote unquote problem. And so in a lot of things, and I think sometimes it's the desire to want to attribute which causes the difficulty, because then you want to attribute whose idea was this. But even the people you're asking whose idea it was, try and think whose idea was it, and they can't quite tell, because some of these ideas are organic and they grow upon you. and as time goes by, it evolves. It starts off with a flower, it goes into trees, and then it goes into furniture, it goes into mask making. When we started this whole enterprise and whatnot, I am not a mask maker per se. I am not what you'd call an artist, but with time, we have worked together. I found myself sculpting masks. So when you ask whose idea was it to do masks, obviously people will assume it was the artist who started it off, and that is probably correct. But 10 years down the line, you might just find that you're just doing the art.
You become the sculptor.
Yeah, you might even find that, okay, the person who did not even start with the whole thing has suddenly now become the sculptor because of circumstance. Maybe you have more time, or maybe the passion, or sometimes it unlocks a spirit that you did not even know that you possessed.
Situation where the teacher becomes better than
the student
becomes better than the teacher.
So I think the desire to attribute, sometimes we end up asking the wrong question because of wanting to attribute this to somebody. I think some things are so organic that it's so difficult to tell, where did this thing start? It's like, for example, if someone is a very good cook, the question then becomes, do you just cook, or are you a good cook because people appreciate your cooking, and therefore as a result of people appreciating your cooking, you become a better and better and better cook? So when somebody asks, when did you start this cooking business? Then you look back and you wonder,
when did I start?
When did I start? But it's probably sometime many years ago, and you cooked something and somebody really liked it, and you figured out, okay, yeah, so attribution. But we have a tendency of wanting to attribute. I think it goes back to what, it's at the end of the day, it's a capitalistic thing where everything has to be attributed to something or somebody.
It's true, but I think also you have to point it out in terms of like the way people look at it, or they move in relationships is like one person could have the idea, the other person could have the execution, but also that you have to have a similar lifestyle. Like, do you like plants? Do you like trees? Do we both like plants and trees? And then do we come together and start having and create the Arboretum as it is now? Because if one person liked trees and the other person liked jets,
Ferraris,
you could support, but you might not be as involved as a person who likes trees and they like plant, and they bring that together, I think.
But I think that's an oversimplification of the whole support system, because sometimes
it could be
somebody, like for example, if Hilda here has a real serious passion for art, and I don't, but I am really interested in supporting her passion, I will be with it 100%. You'll support it physically, financially, emotionally, because you support the person and their passion. And it might not be, but over time, because of that exposure, you will find that because you've gone to art exhibitions and you've met artists and you discuss art, because you started off by being whatever, after some time you realize, I've learned this vocabulary, I understand it, I appreciate it. I might not be as crazy over it as the person who does it. Or sometimes maybe you do end up becoming crazier, because then you end up, probably you find an angle in it. You probably find an economic angle. So the person might be an art lover, art producer, but you've discovered that you can make a business out of it. And then you become the art collector, art seller. So you're both now working in the same sector, but how you ended up there is through a very circuitous route. So at the end of the day, when you ask, oh my God, this is a very successful gallery, how did the two of you get here?
But
might not be that easy to tell.
No, but
there are limitations.
That's what I'm asking.
Given the opportunity, Oby would cover this whole place with trees. I have boundaries because this is our home also.
Yeah.
I was like, I keep reminding him, no, we are not, we are creating an arboretum, a forest, but we also live
in the forest.
We have to we have to have at least some boundaries to show that this is where the home is. Not you can't plant trees up to inside the house. Well, we have, but yeah.
Yeah, and this is why I was talking about. This is why I was talking about. At a certain point in time, you might not even figure out how the tree came to be in the house or how the house came around the tree, because those kind of things happen organically at a certain level, unless you are completely opposed to this idea, and that would mean that partnership would not work.
Yes.
For the partnership to work, there's a certain level of tolerance that must be there. And that tolerance is born out of a certain understanding, a mutual understanding.
Is it
a mutual
tolerance
passion.
or compromise?
It's tolerance. I wouldn't call it compromise.
I think it has to be compromise, because you only tolerate things that you hate or you dislike.
No.
And is that perseverance?
No. I mean, tolerance is something like, this is something I can live with. That is tolerating something. This is something I can live with. It's okay. That's tolerance.
That's
like I don't
compromise
like you.
Is I don't like you, but
we have to work together.
We have to work together. Yeah, that kind of thing.
We have no choice.
Yeah. And then so I'm going to compromise. In compromise, you have to drop some things, and you say, I'm going to drop this because there's a bigger good or something. But tolerance comes out of a space of like
choice.
Okay,
you can choose.
Yeah,
I'm going to tolerate you.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. I don't like you, but I can tolerate you.
Yeah.
I don't like you, but I can tolerate you is compromise.
It's compromise.
Because it started from I don't like you. So you're dropping
but tolerance,
some stuff. It's
so
like
when you tolerate someone or something, it means there's like something you don't like about them.
Give an example of you have this job. It's really, you have a family, bills to pay, but you can't stand your boss or something. But you're going to tolerate your boss because you need that income.
That's what I'm saying. You don't like your boss.
You don't like that person.
But you can tolerate him because at the end of the day,
you'll have to tolerate because you really need what comes with the job,
Think of it this way.
Yeah.
One of the tools of tolerance is compromise. I say one of the tools. So one of the tools is that because I want to get along with you, I will compromise. I will drop my demands. Like when people say, the bare minimum. You say the bare minimum, which I'll go with. And therefore, you're dropping some things. That is, you're compromising on some certain things. Because we understand that things are not an ideal. All right? But when you're just talking about tolerance can also be is learning about something and embracing it. Embracing something is tolerance. There's something I didn't understand. I go out of my way to understand it. And because now I understand it, I can tolerate it. I can live with it. I don't mind it anymore because I've understood it. You see, I've not dropped anything. In fact, if anything, I've picked something. So I can tolerate. Like, for example, there are some meals. You grow up in an environment in which you don't like pili-pili, but then you discover along the line that pili-pili is actually really good for your health. So what do? You begin slowly to build your threshold for taking pili-pili until after some time, you can tolerate it. You can eat it because you like it now. It's beneficial for you. It's not like you've dropped anything.
Yeah.
You've actually acquired something. So sometimes in order to tolerate something, sometimes you need to learn. You need to adopt, not necessarily drop. With compromise, you're dropping stuff, and therefore you feel bereft of something. You feel cheated. That's why it has a bad feeling. Compromise has a bad feeling because you feel like I've been conned out of something, And so you always feel like if I had my way, I wouldn't do this.
Yeah.
But when you've adopted Pili Pili and you now like it, whether there is somebody watching over you, you're going to put Pili Pili in your food because now you've picked it up. You like it. We grow Pili Pili, by the way. And hence the example.
You didn't say shameless plug.
Oh, you also plug people with
You say
Pili
shameless
Pili.
plug.
We make a wicked paste.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
So the Arboretum is open. Anyone can come visit you guys. Oh, because I saw there's bird watching, there's all those activities within the Arboretum.
The Arboretum is open, but we'd like people to make bookings when they're coming because there are different activities depending on what you want to come and do.
Yeah.
We'd like you to, just give us because there are things that you need to prepare.
Yes, yeah.
For example, if you come to the Arboretum and you want to learn about the trees, somebody has to take you through and, teach you this, blah, blah, blah. This is what it is. I mean, that has to be, it has to be planned in advance.
Yeah.
So, you do that booking. And then you can come for a picnic.
Yeah.
That you'll come with your staff, blah, blah, blah. We'll make sure that we have water and blah, blah, everything is clean.
Yeah.
Or you can come for your team building. We'll set you up and tell you, okay, that's the space that you can occupy. Or you can come for tree therapy.
What's tree therapy?
Tree therapy is actually a Japanese concept where you sit and, enjoy the benefits or what are they called? The phytokites. These are like fumes or whatever it is that come from the tree that are healing. So as you sit, for example, if you took your blood pressure before you walked into the Arboretum out there and it was hot and your pressure was high, you'll notice after you sit here, after some time, maybe 30, 40 minutes, that your blood pressure will have gone down. Temperature also will have gone down. So Japanese do that for healing, even like if you have blood sugar, blood pressure, cancer. So the trees give out that energy and actually almost like aromatherapy, scents and other things that are chemicals that are actually useful for healing the body. So you can come and do that. Yeah.
So how do they do the bookings?
So you call, we have a number you can book. Yeah.
Okay.
Just call the number, book and say what you want. Then we'll give you the fee.
What's the number? You can say the number.
Oh.
But I want to kind of contextualize your question about whether you asked whether the Arboretum is open or not.
Yeah.
And in her response, first of all, she said, the Arboretum also happens to be our home. So it is open to the extent that our home is open. But then, what is an Arboretum? It's important for us to understand that Arboretum is a very specific space where you've got trees planted deliberately for purposes of learning. And so the intention of coming to the Arboretum is very important, for one. And like she said, is that when you come, there are various things that you could come and benefit from. And I'd like to use an example, like, for example, a church is open, a temple is open, a mosque is open. But anytime you can walk into a church and do your own prayer, you can walk into a church and you need to find the pastor or the imam or whoever it is who will then engage you in prayer, in interlocution, in whatever it is. It doesn't stop you from going to a church. The fact that you want to meet the pastor. If you're a Catholic, you might even be going for confession. So you can go there, kneel down and confess your sins, quietly. Or you could go for confession where there's a priest. And then you say you're whatever and you're given, okay, go and do this and that. So the Arboretum is a kind of space which exists all the time, like a temple. You can come to the Arboretum, it's open. But when you're coming to the Arboretum, it's like coming to school. Schools are open at any one time. But just because you go to school doesn't mean you're going to get learning, you're going to get an education. You've got to meet teachers, you've got to find a library, you've got to be taught. So when you come to the Arboretum, You need to meet people who will provide you with the benefit of being in that hallowed space.
Yeah.
Like it happens when you go to the mosque or the temple or whatever it is. So that's it. So it's open, but it's also important that you book an appointment if you want to get the best of it. Otherwise, you can, for example, if they ask you, have you ever been to Harvard? Yeah, you can go to Harvard and walk along the corridors of Harvard, and then you
that's not a
leave.
good example.
You won't have been to Harvard.
That's not a good example.
Yeah.
No, that's the best one, actually.
Yeah,
Also-
but yeah, there's a couple that came. They came the first time, and they did the round. Obi is really good with that, and took them. And then one of them came back,
Mm.
and they did not find us because we told them you can come to the Arboretum
Oh, yeah.
anytime.
Mm-hmm.
And then she decided, no, the Arboretum without you guys, somebody to take us round and explain is not the Arboretum. So you need, it also adds, that interest and, value to it.
Yes, like going to the Harvard and you don't meet the professors.
Yeah.
But you,
I don't know. But yeah, so Arboretum is open.
Mm-hmm.
You can call 0715
Yeah.
303
Mm-hmm.
305.
Mm.
Yeah, and we will assist you.
or you can send an email also.
Or you can send an email.
To kajakoby@gmail.
Yeah. Or if
.com.
you're desperate, you can send a message through Facebook if you can't find us.
Yeah,
on
Yeah.
I think Rad can. You have the socials,
I
right?
do have
Yeah,
the social,
Yeah, you
social
can
handles.
share.
Yeah, you
Mm.
can. Yeah.
The socials.
They're all Kajakoby on TikTok,
Yeah.
Facebook, Instagram, anywhere else. X/Twitter.
Mhm.
They're all the same. But I wonder why you're not putting it across that we have a cost. Because if you're saying it's free, does it mean that people are just
No,
walking
we did
in?
not say it's free.
Like
No one
free
said
to,
it's free.
free to visit,
No.
but it's not free.
It's like
to-
if you go to Harvard and you
mean,
attend class.
If you want to attend class in Harvard, you have
pay.
to pay fees.
It's like if you go to church and you want to, these days, even for a funeral service,
Yeah, you have to pay.
You're dead, but you still have to
You
pay.
have part with something. Yeah.
But within the Arboretum, we need to add this, which is very important.
holy
Yeah.
Remember, you
matrimony.
talked about the 150 species?
Yeah.
That's trees that have been planted.
Mm-hmm.
But within the Arboretum, we have an indigenous tree nursery
Yeah.
because there was a need and a gap for indigenous trees.
Please, yeah.
When we came to Kisumu, we started going around looking for indigenous trees, and we discovered that most tree nurseries don't stock, or they don't have a large number of indigenous trees.
Yeah.
So we started stocking the indigenous trees,
Mhm.
and people would come to the Arboretum and then they ask us, okay, I mean, if I want this tree, where do I get it?
Mm.
So that was the second reason why we had to have a tree nursery. So we
nice.
started an indigenous tree
The
nursery.
nursery, yeah.
We are still building the indigenous tree nursery.
Mm-hmm.
We have a good number, but we are still collecting. We are still, like Oby said, we are still doing the propagation. We are
Yeah.
still doing, we scout for trees outside in the tree nurseries. Had to get indigenous trees, but we still, once in a while, you get.
Mm-hmm.
So we are connecting with people who actually are interested in tree propagation, indigenous tree propagation.
Yeah.
So they send us seeds, or they collect for us seeds, and we propagate them, or cuttings, or stuff like that.
And hence the challenge of space. So though she was saying that we don't have space for trees, we don't have all tree species. So we are looking for
We
that.
can't have all tree species. Even the
Yeah.
forest does not have all
All
tree
tree species,
species.
yeah.
Compromise.
Yeah.
So
we have to
no, it's
compromise.
tolerance.
But we have a good number. At the Arboretum, we have a good number of
yeah.
indigenous trees,
Mhm.
and also just other trees,
Yeah.
exotic trees.
Mm.
Yeah, but I
Yeah.
think it's important for us to. The question about coming to the Arboretum
Mhm.
is that within the knowledge of especially indigenous trees. There's a lot of traditional knowledge that exists. And that's what we find most fascinating when people visit the Arboretum, because when we walk you through it, there's a lot of information that is in the trees. Like this tree was used for treating of this and that. This tree was used during this and that ritual.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of that information is coded within the tree and the knowledge of it.
Yeah.
And so learning that about the tree, and that's why when you come, when you're given the guided walk, there's a lot more than just coming and staring at a tree and walking away. Because then you will find that there is this tree that is used for as a lightning arrestor, because there are those kind of trees. When you have it, your home cannot get struck by lightning.
Is that for real?
For real. And so when you come, we tell you about the tree, we show you about the tree, and then the nursery comes in, because we do have the tree.
Yeah.
And so you can get it as a lightning arrestor. There are some trees which are good for treating some certain ailments. And so somebody says, I'm suffering from eczema. And then we tell you, this tree is very good for treatment of skin conditions, blah, blah, blah. You go and you plant it, and then you can use it for dealing with your problems.
Yeah.
And this is something that you can only know if you come and we take you through. So it's like, you come, you can walk around. It's a beautiful place.
Yeah, it is.
And I think like she says, the tree therapy is good. You can just come and sit, meditate, and you get a sense of feeling good. But then you don't get the full dose of the whole thing. It's like, So Arboretum is a nice place to come, book, and come, and we'll take you through it.
Yeah. Thank you guys for your time. This was quite an insightful conversation.
One last thing that I think is important for us to talk about is the agroforestry and the reasons why people need to plant trees. I think that's one thing. People actually not confused, but mistake, planting trees as mostly people plant trees for timber, hoping that they're going to harvest and sell it later, cut it down and sell it later. But there are many other reasons why you should plant a tree, and different trees.
That is the way that we have positioned our reforestation, because our reforestation has been, panda miti, but no one says why.
Why, yeah.
And so the point you're making is that you should tell people panda miti so that, for example, you can panda miti for shade. It's very nice to sit under a shade. You can panda miti for fruits and nuts. And fruits and nuts is not only good for your health, it's good for your pocket, because you'll harvest the fruits, the nuts, you'll take it sokoni. Earlier on, we talked about wood fuel. You can panda miti for purpose of wood fuel. All right? If you're a pastoralist, you can panda miti because there are trees which are very good for fodder. You can harvest the fodder, you feed it to your cows, to your goats. Again, that touches your pocket.
Yeah.
You can have miti which you will grow because they are good for foraging for bees. Bees are part of what we call the forest economy. Bees are good pollinators, but bees also benefit from the trees because they are trees which are very good for bees. And when you have bees, honey goes at 1,000 shillings a kilo. So again, good for the environment, good for your pocket. Soil erosion, which is what President Moi really used to push a lot.
Yeah.
Wind erosion. You panda miti, it's good as cover to protect. Right now in Marakwet, there was that serious landslide which has caused a lot of damage. Why? Because people have been chopping down trees indiscriminately. So most importantly, about 95% of the pharmaceutical industry is derived from trees. So trees are a source of medicine in their raw form. Trees are a source of medicine which can be harvested for purposes of getting medicine, and therefore it's not only good for the health, it's also good for the economy. So when you think about all those reasons, if people were told plant trees because of, for this, then you wouldn't really need to convince people. But we've spent all our time talking about panda miti, and the only thing people think about is timber. Timber is just one small aspect, you know. So if we can contextualize this whole thing as part of agribusiness, then you'll find a lot more people just planting trees because it's as legitimate as planting cassava.
And I wanted us to talk about that because for purposes of drawing in young people, when you talk about agriculture, they think that you're just growing food crops. And you cannot grow trees as a business.
Yeah.
Trees actually are a big time business. You can actually grow trees and not other food crops. You can buy food crops from other, food from other people. But I think the way we have positioned agriculture, and for young people especially, they've lost interest because it's always the good old maize, and then it fails, and then and then it's a lot of tilling and so much work.
Yeah.
But with trees, planting agribusiness or trees as planting trees as a business, it's got work, but it's not at least it's useful work in the sense that if you take care of your tree, mango tree or avocado tree, you're going to have like a banta full of harvest. So at the end of the day, you can take that to the market.
Yeah.
As opposed to planting maize or beans in this area, especially. This is actually a semi-arid area. So a lot of times we make so much effort, wake up in the morning, plow the land, plant your maize, which is not even tested for this region.
Yeah.
And then it fails because we don't get sufficient rainfall.
Oh, that reminds me of something very important that you said, is that, again, we have had this myth that you plant a tree, it will only mature in 20 years. And so there's this story about you plant a tree and your grandchildren will fit under. It is not true. All the trees in this arboretum are under 15 years.
Under 10 years, actually.
And so the idea that it will take long, that's why when people are being encouraged to do it's like, I'm going to plant trees and it's other people who will benefit from it. So that tends to discourage people. Trees actually, well planted, well organized, proper husbandry, you'll be able to benefit from the fruit of trees very, very quickly. And for example, like the wood fuel that we're talking about, you can, within something like 2 or 3 years, you will be harvesting your wood fuel and you take it to the market, you will sell it, you'll make some money.
Yeah.
And so for young people, the idea is that this is something that is lucrative because people don't think of something like a banana as a tree. A banana is a tree.
Yeah.
So when you talk about the food forest, a banana is a tree. You can grow bananas. You can grow things like the candlenut tree, Kabaka jagara. And within a very short while, you can harvest it for its nuts, which are productive in terms of oil. So there is business, there is opportunity, but we need to move away from people thinking, oh, trees take a very long time.
Yeah.
For you to harvest 30 years, 40 years. Not true. And we'll be able, and when people come to visit, we show them, look, these trees are 7 years old, 5 years old, 3 years old. And you see guys like, oh, what? Because there's this story about sitting under the tree after 40 years.
The mango tree.
Wrong myth. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think we are done. Any parting shots?
I think we'd encourage everyone to plant trees and set up an arboretum. It's a lovely thing to do to improve your environment, to, improves the community awareness. It just improves the entire world. So let's plant one tree at a time, or more trees, not necessarily one.
Yeah.
So instead of planting maize only, when you're planting your maize, plant 3 trees.
Yeah.
For different reasons.
My parting shot is for young people that the government has said that between now and 2030, we are going to plant 15 billion trees.
Yes.
My question is, where will those trees come from? where will they be planted, who is going to plant them.
And the why. You've forgotten the why question.
I'm not even talking about the why. I'm looking at opportunity. So people should be setting up tree nurseries to plant, propagate trees, because 15 billion trees are many trees. And so what you need to do is just set up your tree nurseries, because the other time, a few months ago, they said they were going to ask all the chiefs in the country to make sure that 250,000 trees are planted every month. Now, if you're the guy supplying 250,000 seedlings every month, the cheapest seedling is about like 30 bob. I mean, simple arithmetic will tell you that there's a lot of resource. The other thing that was said, I think this was when C.S. Duale was the Minister of Environment, they said, we are going to move into private people's land to encourage them to plant trees. So people are going to be looking for tree seedlings. So if you're looking for work, if you're looking for business, if you're looking to become a millionaire, you can do the math. 15 billion trees at, let's say, 50 bob each. You can become a treepreneur.
Overnight billionaire.
I think that's it, man. We're out.
Too much content.
Too much.
Too much.